SCP-3199 is called Humans Refuted. This animation is by one of my up-and-coming favorite animators, SCP Exposed. Make sure to go subscribe to this man, guys, and let's get into this animation.
The Foundation personnel entered the wooden cabin.
Okay.
There were only 3 of them in total.
It's like MTF?
It was a small mission, just a precautionary check of the reports of strange sightings in this area.
Okay.
Corporal Duncan was sure this was nothing to worry about. They all wanted to head home, and so they stepped into the cabin without much care. That was their biggest mistake.
Uh-oh.
The creature appeared from the other room and killed Private MacLeod, then moved forward with lightning-fast speed to kill off Private Langley. Corporal Duncan stood there in shock and managed to bring out his weapon to stop the creature from killing him too.
Is it bloated in the middle?
Welcome back to SCP Exposed. Today we bring you Euclid class object SCP-3199. As of this day, the Foundation currently contains 6 instances of SCP-3199.
Oh, there's a bunch of instances.
The creature's appearance is best described as a mixture between a human, a blobfish, and a featherless chicken.
Oh my god,
They are typically hairless, stained with a thin layer of albumin-like excretion, and stand at an average of 2.9 meters.
That thing is horrifying.
Its weight averages 780 kilograms for a matured instance. Autopsy has determined that the cervical vertebrae of a mature SCP-3199 instance is composed of cartilage rather than bone.
Okay.
This enables the neck and throat to twist and dislocate to around 340 degrees
like
in
the
either direction.
Exorcist or an
The
owl.
origin of SCP-3199 is unknown, although analysis of tissue shows traces of Silkie chicken, chimpanzee, stoat, mussel, adder, and human DNA.
So it's
the creature's
like a
primary
genetic
objective appears to be to
mutation.
spread its numbers. Instances of
it just wants to
SCP-3199 are always found
weak
nearby
kind of,
hatchlings. These hatchlings appear as large eggs, although their exterior shells are much more durable than the typical egg material.
Okay.
An egg will pass
what an
through the
omelet
creature's
tastes like,
esophagus and eventually out via the mouth, followed by a viscous red substance. First thought to be a form of placenta, chemical breakdown has determined it to be a highly acidic material.
Okay.
SCP-3199 shows extreme distress throughout the process, with personnel describing the sound as not dissimilar to a scream.
It's puking eggs,
The creature will then remain within a 0.6 kilometer radius of its hatchlings, presumably to protect them. SCP-3199 has shown a violence whenever it comes into contact with human or animal life.
Puke eggs.
It will proceed to kill any being with its large teeth and claws, and will decompose the remaining organs and bones with its acidic secretions. The remains will then be placed near a hatchling. Researchers theorize this is for ready consumption once the hatchling reaches maturity. SCP-3199 produces its eggs to fill unoccupied space. There is no known limit to the number of eggs the creature is capable of producing, and the standing theory is as follows. Given enough time, a single instance could single-handedly perform an LK-class species transmutation scenario. Attempts of communication with SCP-3199 have been made, but all attempts have been unsuccessful.
From making eggs?
The only response the creature appears to make are gurgles and squeaks that resemble wet pasta, although it is unlikely these are a direct response to personnel's questions. The termination of a live instance can be achieved through a variety of equally effective methods. SCP-3199 has proven to be around as resilient as a standard human subject.
Okay, so it can be
However,
killed relatively
complete
easily.
eradication has proven difficult for hatchlings due to the strength of their exterior shell. A single SCP-3199 egg can bear a tremendous amount of resilience, maintaining its form and purpose, even following continual subjection to extreme, blunt force trauma,
That's a hell of a
pressure exceeding 180,000 psi, high-pressure blades, serrated and non-serrated,
That's a hard
and
egg.
long-term acid exposure. The application of plastic explosives was considered, but quickly rejected by higher administration. He is a primary component in the growth and development of SCP-3199's eggs, as discovered in an experiment conducted in March of 2019. An egg was relocated to a secure containment cell. Inside, temperature of the cell was gradually increased at an average rate of 7 degrees Celsius per minute. After approximately 9 minutes, the egg ruptured violently and produced a single hatchling. On-site personnel reacted swiftly to recontain the newborn instance. However, the excessive internal temperature appears to have impacted the physical maturity of the hatchling, and it reached adolescence at an accelerated rate of 40 seconds. The now adolescent hatchling produced 2 further instances of SCP-3199.
It didn't need to eat
Security
or anything.
response on site was swift, and all 3 instances were detained cleanly.
Wow.
This experiment could have easily
40
resulted in a
seconds,
containment
dude.
breach were it not for the quick reaction of on-site security. Therefore, any form of experiment pertaining to applying heat to SCP-3199
Keep it cold,
hatchlings has
fellas.
been forbidden by
Just put it outside
O5
right now.
level
It's
personnel.
freezing.
Another experiment was conducted with the hatchlings, except instead of heat, extremely low temperatures were administered upon the egg. The egg was submerged entirely in liquid nitrogen. Security remained on standby throughout the procedure, in light of prior experiments. After approximately 45 minutes of exposure, SCP-3199 had reached -190 degrees Celsius.
That's cool.
Following 2 hours of exposure, the egg was removed and placed under a hydraulic press.
Okay.
The hydraulic press peaked at pressures of around 9,000 psi. Cracks appeared approximately 30 minutes into exposure before the egg shattered.
Wow.
Egg fragments were collected and, furthermore, pressed into a fine pulp.
Okay.
0 traces of albumin or yolk were located.
Okay.
Complete incineration of the shell's remains proved successful in destroying the egg and its reproductive capabilities entirely.
It's just not easy.
This method has proved successful in the destruction of SCP-3199 hatchlings.
Right.
SCP-3199 was first discovered by the Foundation in Ireland following witness reports of a bald creature crying like a banshee from within an undisclosed area of woodland.
Okay.
These reports resulted in the dispatchment of Mobile Task Force Omega-19, who arrived on site with a total of 12 armed personnel.
Right.
2 personnel were lost in action, their internal organs and jaws having been almost entirely dissolved. During transportation, SCP-3199 produced 2 offspring, resulting in the deaths of a further 6 personnel.
Wow.
1 week after the first recovery of the creature, a thorough sweep of SCP-3199's initial recovery location was enacted in an attempt to uncover the creature's origin and purpose.
Okay.
Local reports suggested that the small remote residence in question had been abandoned for at least 2 decades.
Okay.
Surface Team Delta 029E recovered several items of interest, including 1 bag of assorted thread and needles in various colors and sizes.
Okay.
Approximately 13 chicken carcasses with visible
farmhouse?
human teeth marks lining the bare areas at random intervals. Several containers, including
sort of
water
anomaly
bottles
that
and Tupperware
bit it
boxes,
and got it-
holding an
they
unidentified
infected it?
watery paste.
Or
The
genetically
paste was a deep
changed it?
brown in color, and in the presence of oxygen, it turned hard. An A5 notebook heavily scratched with what was determined to be human fingernails.
Okay.
The words New Breed Manifesto are written on the
Ah,
front cover.
It was genetic
The notebook
manipulation.
itself
Science
consisted
experiment.
of 24 pages of standard line
Mad
paper,
science.
written in non-anomalous black ink.
Right.
19 of these pages consisted of various childlike illustrations vaguely resembling SCP-3199.
Weird.
On the remaining 5 pages, large lines of writing detailed the diary of an unnamed individual.
Sure.
Much of the written script was unreadable, although there was one section that was somewhat legible.
Okay.
It has been edited slightly for easier understanding.
Okay,
It reads
tell
as
us about
follows. If you're reading this, then lucky you. 400,000 hours from now, and it'll be warm and wet and warm. And the wonderful versatility of inferior human DNA will give birth to a better era,
Oh my.
a stronger era. One where food and water will be nothing but things of the past as we
What?
make and make and make more until I don't really have much time. That's why I envy you so much. You'll have all the time you need. Time will be on, and death will be life.
Wow.
Life. New life needs things to live. New life will be a part of life from now on.
What a strange manifesto.
Final page consisted of the words life written repeatedly over and over again, as well as the words want it. Additionally, the lyrics to English songwriter Frederick Weatherly's Danny Boy were written in Old
Danny
Gaelic
boy.
script. The identity of the
Weird,
journal's
man.
author is still unknown.
Very weird.
SCP-3199's current containment procedure is as follows.
Okay.
All live instances of SCP-3199 are to be contained on Site-114 within a modified Keter humanoid container chamber,
Sure.
hereby referred to as primary containment, the walls of which should be contained in approximately 2 centimeter thick acid-resistant steel. Secondary containment consists of suspending all live instances of SCP-3199 within a block of solid transparent substance, currently clear acrylic resin.
Oh.
This block is to be at a height of at least 3 meters, with one armed security guard stationed immediately outside initial containment at all times.
Okay.
Secondary containment is to be regularly examined for damages. Movement and activities of any kind is to be noted.
Right.
And the current Site-114 director is to be informed at the earliest possible convenience. Experiments involving the use of live SCP-3199 instances are strictly prohibited without approval from at least 2 personnel of Level 4 security clearance or above.
Man.
In the event of a containment breach, the following procedure has been devised to limit collateral damage. On-site personnel with Level 1 security clearance or above assume standard lockdown procedure and evacuate Site-113 to await further instruction.
Okay.
Site-114 is to be flooded in its entirety by a clean, distilled water treated with dissolved Class A sedatives.
Okay.
Surface Team Tango 306A will be dispatched immediately to retrieve any lingering instances of the creature's eggs. Any living instances of SCP-3199 will be terminated on site, and their remaining eggs will be collected. All egg samples are to be transported to temporary off-site containment within a stable water bath. Site-114 will be subsequently drained, and custodian staff will be dispatched to thoroughly clean and sanitize the grounds to a green zone foundation standard. Researchers have discovered that SCP-3199 appears sedated in liquid, as it seems to consider the water as occupied space. SCP-3199's primary objective is still uncertain. However, researchers are unsure as to whether the creature wishes to take over the world through its rapid reproduction cycle, or whether it merely exists to reproduce and spread its numbers.
I mean,
SCP-3199's violent behavior towards humans, however, confirms that under no circumstance may the creature be allowed to roam freely, as it poses a huge threat to innocent lives. Any reports of SCP-3199 outside of the Foundation's facilities must be investigated immediately and recovered. So, what did you think of that SCP case? Comment your thoughts below.
Very, very, very weird. If you were a geneticist trying to make a new superhuman or superior version of life, how does a chicken cross your mind? That's what I want to know. Out of all the animals you could pick from, a chicken? Come on, man. Guys, SCP Exposed. Make sure to subscribe to him as well as a couple other reaction videos I did from him. Thanks so much for watching. As always, this is Zueljin signing off. We'll see you next time.